If you've ever wondered how the bigger companies keep winning tenders and contracts, we're here to tell you how to get your own share. In this session, we guide attendees step by step through the procurement processes, how to submit successful grounds maintenance and FM related bids, and how to build lasting client relationships. Delivered by Stephen Higginbottom of Marada Works and Graham Ellis of Thornton Lowe, two of the UK's leading experts in bid and growth support for facilities management and grounds maintenance businesses. With decades of experience helping SMEs win more work, improve their strategies, and grow sustainably, we'll show you how smaller contractors can compete confidently and secure the work they deserve. We join our session as Steve explains the three biggest challenges when it comes to competitive tendering in these industries.
Recently was a local contractor contacted me and said he wanted to go for a town council contract. So I said, leave it with me. And I did some research into this. I could easily find within an hour that the existing contractor had it for 5 years. They'd been re-awarded it previously, and they were also based locally. This new contractor who had approached me was based over an hour away. So to me, it's obvious. This guy isn't going to be competitive on price because he's got his travel time, but also the town council are always going to go with a local operator because they want to keep the economy local. So it's pointless. So there's an example of doing your research. You can also research what contracts are due to come up in the near future, and you can start to prep for these, undertaking research and marketing in that client's direction in advance, getting your brand in front of them. And remember, you don't have to do this alone. Use networks, consultants, bid writers as support when and where you need them. So why outsource marketing, social media, and bid writing? Specialist expertise. Bid writing, marketing, and social media require very different skills to running a grounds maintenance or cleaning business, for example. Outsourcing gives you access to seasoned specialists who do this every day without the cost of hiring full-time. Cost effective. In-house, you'll have salaries, NI, more NI, pension, software, training, and the managing. Outsourced, you'll pay for what you need when you need it, and there's no commitment. It's flexible. Scale up for big tenders and campaigns, scale down when quieter. Focus on the core business. It allows you, the owners and managers, to be focused on delivery, compliance, and client relationships, concentrating on contract retainment. Outsourcing removes the admin burden and frees your time to run operations. Professional perception. Outsourced teams deliver polished submissions, consistent branding, and strong social presence. This builds trust with procurement teams. You look like the professional outfit they want to work with. A wider network and insights. External bid writers and consultants often see dozens of tenders each month. They know the trends, scoring patterns, and common pitfalls. An in-house team won't have that depth of experience. Don't feel you have to suddenly hire a marketing manager, a social media exec, and a bid writer. Outsource these areas. It's cheaper, faster, and means you're working with people who know how to win. You stay focused on running the business while your external partners build your profile and win the work for you. This is what we did at Greenfingers for the whole 30 years of our operation.
And Steve, just a quick one on that. Did you at Greenfingers outsource the mini competitions and the other bit so you could concentrate on the business? You let outsource do everything?
We outsourced everything. We didn't have anybody in the business that would do that. We would keep our head office costs down to an absolute minimum, and we had schedulers, PA support, and high-level finance. Everything else, health and safety consultants, everybody was a consultant, and we just brought them in when we needed it. And that way, we didn't have the overhead and the cost, but we also, more importantly, didn't have to manage them. I wasn't an health and safety expert. I wasn't a bid writing expert or a marketing expert. So for me to manage people like that wasn't the way forward. I concentrated on managing what I knew, and that's why our contract retainment was so good. And everybody must remember that winning bids, winning contracts doesn't equal profit. Contract retainment equals profit. Okay.
Cool. Yeah, thank you.
So going on to frameworks and DPS, these are often the first real doorway into public sector contracts. A framework is a list of pre-approved suppliers that a client can buy from easily. A DPS is a more flexible, rolling version that SMEs can join at any time. I'm using DPSs now all the time to procure contracts for housing associations and other public sector clients. Both give you, the contractor, credibility, visibility, and opportunities you'd otherwise miss. Examples of some of these frameworks are Crown Commercial, Fusion 21, and Procurement Assist, but there's many and they're easy to find and we can assist you with that. For SMEs, DPS is often the best entry point. It's lower barriers and there's more chances to win. You guys can get on a DPS and framework relatively easy. This then means you're past the first main hurdle and you'll start to get asked to price contracts in your region. Once you have won one of these, you're away. You've got the case studies, you've got the examples, and you've got something that you can show and shout about. And that is very easy to do. We've just done that with South Lakes Housing now, and we've put it out to 2 local contractors through a framework. Okay, Graham?
Super. Cheers, Steve. Just on the frameworks, they're also really good procurement tools. So if you've got a buyer and you're on a DPS or a framework, they know where to buy you from as well. So as well as it presenting you with work, it's another procurement tool, isn't it, to kind of get that through?
Absolutely.
Super. Just before we carry on, guys, we're coming up to the question and answers. So any questions that you've got, pop them in the chat. So we'll move on to finding opportunities now. There are lots of opportunities out there and they're all published, but there's lots of places that you can find them online, find a tender, contracts finder, but we would recommend you use our tender pipeline. The reason for that is it's all in one place. And what you'll be able to do is search for upcoming opportunities, but also look back at what's been awarded and who it's to. So coming back to what Steve was saying before, it's about doing that research into who was the previous holder, how many times have they been awarded it, and other bits that you'll do in the research for the bid, no bid. So on tender pipeline, you'll look at what opportunities are coming up. You can look for the awarded contracts, get your market intelligence, but you can also start to spot trends. Who's winning what, where are they winning it, and for how much? So you can start to map that against what it is. And also on the tender pipeline, you can set alerts. So you can put facilities management contracts in Manchester, and it will send you an email when one of them's coming out. It's free to register. And if you're interested, absolutely, you can drop us an email. But doing that research into the contract that's coming up and where it's been awarded and your competition, like Steve said, is vitally important when you're doing your bid, no bid, because you don't want to spend a lot of time on something that you probably won't win. You want to spend time on something that you absolutely can win, and that's where it comes into. So, Chris, Q&A.
Yeah, of course. We've not actually had anyone that's dropped any questions in there as yet. I don't know whether that can act as a reminder for any of you to contribute there, or if you've got anything that you'd like to mention to Graham or Steve, you just unmute yourself and potentially ask then. Just opening the floor up to you guys, really, if that's something. If not, then what we do have is like a frequently asked questions that we can send out with the packs that will be coming out tomorrow. That'll also have the recording of the session and a bit of a crib sheet. But Will has actually just asked, how much does bid writing cost? Just a ballpark figure. I know that's going to be a can of worms, Graham, but it's an easy one that I guess you can talk around, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So it very much depends upon the word count and what's required. So that it's around ultimately that. But what we will want to do is work with people so we can do the work and make it affordable. We appreciate some people have got budgets. So there's lots of different options that we can provide. If you're bidding for a contract which is worth £50,000, charging you £5,000 or £6,000 to do it will wipe it out of the equation, because any profit you will make on that contract is probably gone on trying to win it. So what we would encourage people to do is contact Steve or myself, and then we'll work with you on what the options are to do it. But it very much depends upon the writing content and what's involved, really.
There's a solution. There's a solution for everybody on every budget for every contract. You know, sometimes with the grounds maintenance and cleaning ones, the documentation can be quite exhaustive and it can be quite a lot of work. But these are sizable contracts and they're a big piece of work. And we do the pricing on a word count. But you know, on the smaller contracts, town councils, more local housing associations, there's different ways, like Graham says, with the tender library. There'll be stuff that you'll be able to do yourself. We'll be able to teach you to do some stuff with AI and building up your own library and different things like that. So I always say with each job, reach out and speak to us and see if we can start to open a relationship and tell you honestly whether we feel it's worth you going for it and what it will be, you know, whether it's going to be worth it. You know, like Graham hinted towards there, if you go for a contract and it's, you know, I don't know, £100,000 a year, and you're only going to make 10% on that, and it's going to cost you 10 grand to put the bid in. The first year you're paying for the bid to be written. The second year you're probably just about breaking even. The third year you're redoing the bid for to be renewed the contract. It's not worth it. So, you know, there's different solutions for everybody, really. I think it's the best answer to that. What I'd always say though is people approach me before reading the documentation. Don't see that there's a tender or a contract out there that you think you want to go for because it's a housing contract and it's in your area and you're a cleaner or a grounds maintenance or whatever. Download the documents, register for them, read them through. You might not understand it all. Don't worry. That's what I said. That's what these people do. But understand what's involved. Make sure that you can deliver it, that the financial you know, values on it are something that you've got to deliver, and then come to us for advice. The first thing we'll do is give you our advice. If we don't think that you've got a very good chance of winning it, we will tell you openly and honestly.
Great, thanks, Steve. Just moving on to something Emma's asked. And oh, beg your pardon, Adam next, so skip that one. Have you seen any change in the tender weightings over the last 20 years in terms of price versus quality?
Shall I come in, Graham, on that first?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, of course we have, definitely. We've seen it go from being compulsory competitive tender where the lowest bid would win to it being a much greater weighting towards quality, you know, of quality being 60 or even higher percentage. But you still got to be very, very competitive. I see people on LinkedIn all the time saying that they're losing out on bids on price to somebody else. People are going in and look too low. It's a race to the bottom. Well, I don't fully agree with that. You've got to get your pricing right, and you've got to get the quality aspect of your bid right. And if you do that, you'll have a very, very good chance of winning. So yeah, I would say there's definitely more around quality, but we're also moving into uncharted waters where things are becoming very, very expensive for the client. You know, with national insurance, everything like that, everything's becoming more expensive. Everyone's looking at the margins. Everyone's trying to cut a little bit. So I can see it still being very competitive moving forward.
In terms of the Procurement Act, so Procurement Act 2023 came in place February this year, and that moved the contract awards to look at most advantageous tender away from most economically advantageous tender. So pricing is a consideration, but they should be looking at what service they're getting, the quality, and things like social value, carbon reduction, and other elements that go into that. In reality, what does that mean? Like Steve said, we're seeing more of on a framework, it's generally 70% quality and 30% price to get onto the framework. Tenders are probably sitting about 60-40 to price, but you know, there is more of a move towards quality. And coming back to what Steve said before about getting bid ready and having things done, having some of these templated bits or having your mobilisation plan worked out, another bit, they tend to be similar elements that come across from framework to tenders, mini competitions. So it's all about getting ready and having kind of a base so you can start and compete.
Great. Right, that's really good information. Thanks both. The next question, I'm going to combine a couple that I've asked here. There is one from Emma where she's just asking, rather than just for facilities management, if she's looking for specifically exterior cleaning tenders, or Billy has also asked, where's the best place to find tenders in general? Can you give a bit more information on being specific, but also as a general sort of FM grounds maintenance place to look?
Yeah, sure. So Thornton Lowe's tender pipeline goes and looks at all the notices that are out there. So it compiles them all into one place, and you'll be able to search for a generic facilities management or a specific external cleaning. So everything in procurement has a what they call a CPV code. So that code breaks it down. So when it's advertised, it will go really granular in some levels. And even external cleaning might say, you know, external window cleaning or external cleaning the pavements, and it'll drop down to levels. So tender pipeline will let you search for that. To access it, as I say, it's free for people to sign up. And if you go to our website, thorntonlowe.com, click on bid software, it will take you to that place. Other places that you can search, so find a tender, which is where all contracts are published. Other areas are there. If you're looking in Scotland, then there's another platform in Scotland. So there's different ones for the devolved authorities, but ours looks in one place in essence.
Great.
Chris, could you
Yeah.
put the link maybe in the chat, or and share it as well with the documentation after?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll drop the link in the follow-up info that you'll all get as part of this. But if you've got any questions on tender pipeline or any of the bid software, then by all means drop Graham an email on that as well. But
And if you say, like, the tenders I put out on my LinkedIn each week are just from me being registered on that tender pipeline. I get these notices, and I think that'll be of interest to my audience. So I'll put it out there. Can't put them all out because people would get bored with it, all this stuff coming through. Some weeks there's quite a lot. And I do tend to prioritize the grounds maintenance over other stuff just because it's more my interest. But yeah, that's exactly where I'm getting them from if anybody's interested in that. So please have a look at it.
bro, no, that's really good. Thank you. Just before we move on to another subject, Ralph's asked that this is really for you, Graham, I think. Are you tied into a long-term contract with bid writers, he's saying, but I think he means along the lines of like Thornton and Lowe and be outsourcing that element.
Yeah, good question, Chris. So we've got a number at Thornton Lowe, we've got a number of different products and packages. Some are 12-month based, so it's a certain amount each month as kind of a retained client, and we work long term. If you want us to do a framework or just a tender, you can come in and we can just work on a one-off ad hoc basis. So you're not tied into us. So like Steve said before, there is a solution for everybody in this, and it's about what we're passionate about, same as Steve, is about getting the right suppliers into the public sector to deliver quality service and value for money. And ultimately, we'll work with people to do that either on an ad hoc basis or longer term if they want to outsource. So we've got solutions for everybody.
Great. Bro, thanks, Graham. This one's for Steve from Jim. He's asked, what's the best piece of innovation or tech that can be used to help price groundworks?
That's difficult, really. You see, at Greenfingers, we always had our own system that we had built, and we still use that now. So if anybody did want any assistance with pricing, we still do that. I believe people like Glendale and ID Verde have their own built the same. You can get off-the-shelf white label apps that will do that. Maybe I'll put some in the notes to suggest what they might be, but they're more generic systems for quoting and things like that. I don't think that you'll, if you want help pricing, then you're probably better reaching out to us and we can have a look at it for you. It's not a very straightforward thing. We did one for Gloucestershire schools only a week and a half ago, and it's very complex breaking everything down. So there isn't really a product off the shelf, unfortunately.
Great. Thanks, Steve. Finally, for SMEs, do you suggest working towards being added to DPS frameworks first, before preparing like for a specific bid or tender opportunity? And how easy is it to be added to a DPS and also to a framework?
Graham, can I come in first on this?
Yeah, sure, no problem.
I'd like to explain this. So there's a DPS that comes under procurement assist, okay? And I've used this a lot recently. I'm using it at the moment, as I say, for South Lakes housing. But what I did with it is I went out to the market and found a dozen grounds maintenance contractors in North Wales, went to them, told them that my client was going to be releasing a grounds maintenance tender. Were they interested? Would they be prepared to get into the framework? We had a conversation. The ones that were, we got them on the procurement assist framework. Then the client released the documents and they automatically got asked to price it. So they passed this first hurdle, as we say, which makes things very simple for them then. That's how easy it is. You can approach a DPS any time of the year to go onto it. The frameworks, you've got to wait till they're advertised on the same, the way tenders are. But they're quite simple and quite straightforward, is my point, to get on them if you are, a good contractor. You don't necessarily have to have all your ISOs, all this, all that. You could have some simple stuff, like maybe Chaz or construction line and these types of things, but these are fairly easy to get. And again, we can help you and assist you with them should you need to, get these accreditations. But I think that's the fair way of putting it, isn't it, Graham? These are pretty straightforward.
Yeah, absolutely. So a DPS is great to enter public sector with. Like Steve says, they're open for a long period of time. You can join them through there. Look at what the DPS is and who the awarding body is and who the buyers are, because there's potentially lots of them. So like Steve identified, the procurement assist one, it's a really good little DPS that's got a good core number of buyers behind it. So again, Steve and myself will guide you through what the best option is for you, because it depends who you want to sell the services to. The bigger frameworks like your Fusion 21 or the Crown Commercial Facilities Management, there is sometimes a higher level of certification and accreditation that's required for those. Now, for an SME for an SME, ultimately, you wouldn't necessarily need all your ISOs and application, but you would need it before first contract award. So a DPS is best to enter on because you can build your experience, your contract examples, your reputation, and then apply for the bigger frameworks as they're released every 3 or 4 years.
It's remarkably easy to get on a DPS, remarkably easy, really. And it's remarkably easy to win your first job on it too. But a couple of things, examples I'll give you regarding frameworks. At Greenfingers, we got the majority of our work that came off frameworks by taking the client to the framework, not the framework putting a tender out. We had a client that would approach and say, we want to work with you. Are you on any frameworks? And we take them by the hand. Or it'd be an existing client who said, we want to renew with you. If we go for a big tender exercise, there's a risk that lots of other contractors are going to come to the are you on any frameworks? And we take them by the hand to the framework, and they could either direct award or do a mini competition. Not a lot of people know that. Okay. And that's all legal and above board, compliant. The other one is an example. I think it was Warrington recently did a big framework for schools, and we got a contractor onto that. And then what we did with the marketing aspect, we marketed ourselves directly to all the schools in that area. And we said, we're arborists, we're on the framework, we do this type of work, you can award work to us directly and easy. Schools and heads and admin people at schools love that. All these people want you to make their life as easy as possible. And the last thing they ever want to do is to go through big tenders, because they're expensive, they're very slow, very time consuming. They need a procurement person, consultant, or department. So they'll avoid it. So with smaller, medium-sized spends, then frameworks can be quite an interesting way to build work by using it in different ways. What you can't do, and I've seen people do this, apply for a framework or a DPS, get on it. We get them on it, and then 12 months later, they ring us back up and say, I haven't got any work off this, Steve. And you haven't put any effort in. You know what I mean? It won't just work like that. You've got to work it to your advantage as well.
Great.
Super.
Thanks both. That's really good. I've just put a note in the chat now. If anyone does have any further questions, then feel free to drop them into the chat window, but we'll probably get back to you, or we will get back to you with the follow-up materials, and we'll address those questions then. But we're just going to move on to the final section now with Graham, if you're okay with that, Graham.
Super. Cheers, Chris. So ultimately, in summary, we're talking about building your portfolio. You know, that's your contract examples, your bid toolbox, your toolkit, and getting everything ready in advance of your first tender. We're talking about being strategic. You could go and bid for everything, but ultimately find the contract that you want and bid for it. Don't bid for something that's not worth it. And sell you and your services, the value that your business and you add and what you do. What you do is amazing, and the tender that you submit ultimately should reflect the work and the care that you put into that. In terms of next steps, Chris has alluded to it already, but we will share a copy of the recording of this with a copy of the slides. We'll also do a little bit of a crib sheet to go with it. If you want to speak to myself and Steve, you've got the email addresses there. So it's hello@miranda.uk or hello@thorntonlowe.com. If you put FM webinar in the subject, it will be me or Steve that picks it up. So we'll know you're there. But from both of us, we just want to say thank you for your time today and being with us, and we'll get you this information out tomorrow.
That's great.
Cheers, guys.
Guys, thanks everyone.
Cheers. Thank you. Thanks for attending. Cheers.